So I've got a lot of comments on my Predator Killer of Killers video, and one in particular comparing me to the man himself. But I don't want to talk about just all of the compliments that I got on this video. I want to talk about some of the criticisms that I got of the criticisms of the characters of Predator Killer of Killers. The most egregious one being Ursa, the Viking berserker in the first story. So let's break down why Ursa, the character in Predator Killer of Killers, is one of the most unrealistic and lazily written strong women we've seen since, well, probably the last one. On paper, she's supposed to be this unstoppable warrior, but on screen, she's a walking contradiction to basic biology, logic, and storytelling principles. She takes on multiple male soldiers, all bigger and stronger than her, and comes out on top without a scratch. She fights a predator, an apex alien armed with advanced weaponry, and somehow goes toe-to-toe with it underwater, in freezing cold, without gear, training, or even so much as a grimace of discomfort. She holds her breath while fighting, uses a broken shield to block the predator's sonic punch weapon, whatever, and gets launched several yards through the water and another 6 feet into the air before slamming onto the ice. And what does she do? She gets up. No broken ribs, no winded breath, no limp, just a glare and back at it. This isn't empowering. This is insulting. Biologically, it's nonsense. Women naturally have lower muscle mass, especially in the upper body, compared to men. They have smaller lungs. They get tired faster. Even elite female athletes can't outmuscle average trained men in raw physical force. And yet, Ursa is casually overpowering soldiers and the predator alike without any established training, genetic enhancement, or internal explanation. She doesn't earn her strength through the narrative. She's just written to win. Even worse, the film breaks its own internal rules. The Predator's punch gadget, shown earlier to send the Predator himself sliding across the ice, suddenly just stops behaving that way when Ursa needs a clean counterattack. It's not just inconsistent, it's downright lazy writing. So, how do we remedy this? There are several examples in media already that have strong women that do make sense. There's plenty of them. They're better written, more compelling, and far more iconic. First is Wonder Woman. She's a demigod trained by Amazon warriors. Her strength, speed, and durability are the result of divine origin and a lifetime of combat training. When she goes toe-to-toe with powerful enemies, it works because her world establishes that she can do that. But even then, she struggles, she bleeds, she feels loss. Her power doesn't make her perfect. It gives her challenges worthy of her strength. That's what makes her heroic. Ripley from Alien, a female lead who wasn't even originally written as a woman, but became iconic because of her resourcefulness, her grit, and survivor instinct. Ripley doesn't fight the xenomorph with brute strength. She uses her wits, her understanding of the environment, and her emotional intelligence. Her strength is in her fear and her ability to act in spite of it. She's terrified, but she steps up. And the world around her stays consistent. The xenomorph doesn't suddenly just get weaker or dumber when she fights it. The threat remains real, and Ripley earns her victory. Next is Catwoman, one of my favorite villains in the Batman universe. Catwoman isn't superhuman, but she uses agility, stealth, seduction, and combat training to level the playing field. She's not physically stronger than Batman, and the story doesn't pretend she is. She wins through misdirection, acrobatics, manipulation. Her strength is in her cunning, and the audience respects her because she works within the limits of her world and thrives. And finally, Selene from Underworld. She can overpower men and monsters alike because she's a vampire. The story explains her powers. She has speed, strength, regeneration. It's all part of the mythology. When she rips through lichens and enemies twice her size, we buy it because the rules of the world justify it. She's still vulnerable, still at risk, but her power makes sense within the universe she inhabits. These characters work because their abilities are earned, explained, and consistent within the story's world building. They don't win because the plot needs them to. They win because they adapt, they fight smart, and sometimes because the odds are just barely in their favor. That's tension. That's storytelling. That's how you create a strong woman that an audience can respect. Now let's shift from biology to literature. Because on a literary level, Ursa is still a failure. The best characters in history, written by names like Shakespeare, Tolkien, Dickens, Dostoevsky, always have one thing in common. They're flawed. They're vulnerable. They have internal battles that are just as significant as the external ones. The audience isn't drawn to them because they're invincible. We're drawn to them because they struggle, they fall, and they rise. That's what makes them human. Great storytelling teaches us that victory means something only when it comes through suffering, growth, and change. Aragorn doubts himself. Hamlet is paralyzed by indecision. Elizabeth Bennet must confront her own pride and assumptions. Luke Skywalker doesn't defeat the Empire by being the strongest. He wins by letting go of fear. Every great hero learns something, overcomes something. They become worthy through the journey. Ursa doesn't have a journey. She's flawless from the jump. Every obstacle is either waved away with brute force or with convenient plot armor. That's not empowerment. It's ego projection. A character who never fails, never learns, and never changes is not strong. They're just boring. And worse, they make the entire story around them weaker, because when nothing is a challenge, nothing has weight. We don't connect with perfect characters. We connect with flawed ones who overcome their weaknesses to rise to the occasion. That's what makes Ripley iconic. That's why we still talk about Wonder Woman, Catwoman, and Selene, because their strength is earned. It's rooted in struggle and feels real. Ursa, she's a writer's shortcut, a hollow symbol wrapped in plot immunity, and the Predator franchise deserves better. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving me a like on the video. If you didn't like it, I'd love to know why, and thanks for sticking around this long anyway. I'll see you on the next one.